Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Shiz and Giggles, our weekly wind down podcast where we talk about everything and usually anything that comes to mind. My name is Emily and I'll be your host today. But I'm never alone, as you all know. Today, my first co host, she is a lover of all things true crime, a Taurus sun and moon, and puts hot sauce and sriracha on everything. Let this girl spice up your life. It's Demi.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, glad to have you.
Thank you.
My second co host today, she is a mother to a son, three dogs, and a cat. Her hobbies include reading, children's books, of course, mostly, crafting, cooking, and baking. She is also a crime enthusiast and a lover of all things DUI. Thank you. That's the second time I've done that. DIY. It's Holly Jackson.
DIY. Yes.
Makes a big difference.
Don't DIY with a do. Okay.
You know what? Happy to have you both here. All right, to kick things off this week, let's talk about our trending topic. And it's very apt for me. This week actually, is Inspire Your Heart with Art Day, which starts January 31st. So, as you know, I'm a big art enthusiast and a painter by trade. I love all of my art forms. So, art comes in various forms and styles, however, outlines our cultures, traditions, and celebrations. It provides a sense of community across most of the globe, if not the entire globe. Art is a universal language, essentially. So, I'd like to ask my co host and the people watching, what is your favorite art form?
I feel like mine has changed. When I was younger, my favorite art form was probably theater. I was a big theater and singer. I did both in high school. Now that I am older, I definitely feel as though an art form for me is probably cooking and reading. Reading is like a big art form for me, and I like to read and then reflect on what I'm reading about. And I never really thought about reading as an art form until I looked into what art forms were. And that came up as it. And I was like, that's really cool that that's considered an art form.
Yeah, I had no
idea. Good at it.
I had no idea that reading was considered an art form. But mine definitely has changed over time as well. Definitely in high school, I was chorus all the way, and vocals, and then theater. Theater is still very near and dear to my heart. I'm actually going to see Rent off Broadway next week. And I recently went to a comedy show. So I'm into a lot of different art forms, different ways to express oneself, because as you get older, your ways to express yourself change because you change,
Absolutely. Rent is fun. Comedy is definitely an art form. And, we also don't have to be personally proficient in an art form to still love it. I think part of the entire point of Inspire Your Heart with Art weekday is witnessing other people's interaction in art can inspire our own. So there's a lot to be said there. Before we jump into our segments today, I do have a video, just a little clip, a little tidbit that I'd like to share with you by Lake Region Arts in Minnesota.
Is the arts have been around forever as a way to tell the story of human existence. Before there was any other way to capture the story or the history of human beings as people, art was there. Before movies, before written books, before anything. We continue.
The rest of that video is so fascinating. She continues to talk about how we express as a culture, and we also keep record of our culture and our life and our history through arts. And it's really meaningful. So we will include the link to the rest of the video. Definitely give it a good watch. But it is time for segments now, everyone. So let's go to Here's a Tip with Demi.
Hello, everyone. So, for my Here's the Tip today, I am going to be giving you tips and tricks on how to include art in your everyday life. So, first up, we have visit an art gallery. So, art galleries and exhibits are only a quick Google search away, and most state funded art museums offer free entry, which is very nice. And if they don't offer free entry and you're a college student or a high school level student, if you have your student ID, you can get free entry to a lot of museums as well, which is very nice. A couple of Virginia local favorites are the Virginia Museum of Fine Art in Richmond, Virginia, the Chrysler Museum of Art in Norfolk, Virginia, and the Smithsonian American Art Museum in Washington, D.C. I definitely love the VMFA. I've been for a couple of different exhibits that they've had. They switch out the exhibits that they have, which I really like, that they do different kinds so that you can experience a lot of different cultures within their museum. And then they also have outdoor exhibits, which I like, so that you can experience indoor and outdoor. So I definitely love that. Next up, I have something near and dear to my heart, which is go to a theater performance. This is something I loved to do when I was in high school, and I love now as an adult. So similar to art galleries, there are typically more theaters around you than you realize, and a simple Google search will steer you in the right direction. I love integrative performances where the audience gets to act with the performers, where you get to join in. And the biggest example of this is the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So I actually got to act in the Rocky Horror Picture Show when I was in college, and now as an adult and I'm not in it anymore, I do like to go to the shows. So that's a super fun option. And if physically going to a theater isn't an option for you, they do so many live streaming options now with COVID and virtual streaming services being available. And next up, we have getting a coloring book. So we're going back to our childhood days. We're going to take it back a little bit. There are many studies on the benefits of coloring and how it can help reduce anxiety and stress. I personally have 3 different adult coloring books that I love. One is just outdoor scenery and mandalas. One is specifically a bunch of just random animals. And then I also have one that is specific locations around the world. And I personally prefer to use colored pencils because it's lighter in color as opposed to markers, but everyone has their different opinions on what they like to use. And then a fun fact is the first adult coloring book mocked corporate culture, actually, and was published in... Isn't it great? And it was published in 1961 by 3 advertising executives, and it's called The Executive Coloring Book, and it was the first coloring book aimed for adults. So that's the link and QR code to the Amazon shopping list of coloring books. And you can also search this link right here to go purchase your own coloring book. I love doing this. I do it on plane rides. You can scan the QR code here as well.
Ooh, I'm going to be doing that.
On planes, it's great. I do it at night sometimes if I'm feeling especially anxious, or also right by the pool is nice. And I've done it where my friend has one page and I have the other page. So yeah.
That's always really nice to get a group together to do artsy things.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's definitely fun.
I have a few adult coloring books as well, so they're very relaxing and calming. So Jackson has his own coloring book, Mommy has hers.
Yeah, for sure.
I definitely love a good audiobook while I'm coloring or drawing. That's kind of my go-to ultimate relax day is audiobook drawing.
Oh, that definitely sounds nice. I'm into podcast right now, so podcast with that as well.
There you go.
Well, thank you both.
That was super great. Thank you so much for sharing all of those wonderful tips, Demi. Moving to our next segment, though, it's going to be Holly for the art of baking.
Hey guys. So first off, has anybody seen Cake Boss, the show? Been to his buildings? And I mean, he has a new building, but a shop of his, he's located in New Jersey, Hoboken, New Jersey. Buddy Velastro, I love him. I grew up watching this show, and ironically enough, just from watching the show, I was able to learn a few tips and tricks. And not only did I gain my spark and love for baking, but this
Aw.
is actually where I learned how to bake and decorate. So this was like a big part of my life. And as you saw on the pictures, yep, there it is. So that's actually a cake hamburger. It looks so real. And look at that Transformer car. Like, are you
That's
kidding
pretty
me?
cool.
That's insane.
That whole thing is cake. Like that right
Where
there.
do you put it?
It's very nerve-wracking to like see them move and like get it to the venue
What?
because they obviously bake it in their
Oh.
shop.
That's true.
But that's an art form in itself,
Mhm.
and it's absolutely beautiful no matter the outcome. But one takeaway I don't enjoy about baking and like the art of it is destruction of it at the end of it. You know, you have to destroy your final product. And like when I personally bake, somebody else has to cut into it. I just can't do it myself.
Wow. I feel like I could understand that of not wanting to hurt your own, but I've never made pretty food, I guess. I feel like my food is always made to eat. I never make it presentable.
Demi just makes a cake for herself and then eats it.
Yeah, it's just ready to go.
Next, I want to talk about the art of not only bread in general, but puff pastries and bread. So look at these intricate details on the loaves of bread. And then look at the layers upon layers in that puff pastry. I mean, bread is hard to create and make in general. So I've heard. I've never baked bread. But when you talk about puff pastries, you need the exact proportion amounts. You need a steady hand. You need a scale. But in order to create those hundreds of layers in a puff pastry, you have to stretch and pull the dough and then fold over the dough, pull and stretch again and fold over. And the butter works its magic because butter is like everything. And it's, I mean, look at that. It's beautiful. There's hundreds of layers in that. Can you believe that?
I'm one of those
incredible.
people who pulls my pastry apart layer by layer too. So I'm happy that they do that for me.
Yes. Yes.
Mayhem.
Right? And all of those layers are what gives its crispiness, yet light, airy feeling. So it's all about how the process of making those layers goes into the puff pastry. It's incredible. And it takes a very steady hand, like I said, but also experienced, well-rounded baker. So
Absolutely. Definitely something I miss, being gluten-free. They don't make those. They don't make those gluten-free. So sad.
Yeah, no, because you need butter. You need butter. Okay, so last, I would love to share my son's beautiful artwork and masterpieces. So just look at those beautiful. Look at that chalk that's on my patio door. You know, I have not removed it yet, but he just went to town and he was expressing himself in some type of way. I have no which way of knowing, but he had a blast. And
never take it down.
No. So, and we're in an apartment, so I'm just going to leave it up for the next tenant, you know. But and then he goes to preschool and they do arts and crafts every single day. And the previous picture posted, everything is on my fridge. We have Santa, we have a turkey. He loves to paint. Loves to paint. But yeah.
You should come hang out with Auntie M.
Yeah.
Get out the finger paints and the crayons, because that's what I do on my own, with or without a 3-year-old with me. So
yeah. I'll bring my adult coloring book.
Him and I have about the same skill in art, so I'm sure we'd get along very well with doing these items. So
thank you so much for sharing all of that, Holly. Those are so incredible. You are right. You are absolutely right. Food and baking is definitely an art form. In addition, children's art is definitely an art form. So that kind of leads into my next talking point. Question for you all: where can we find, and where do you, if you do, find art that is unexpected in the world. Baking being one of them. I can tell you for a fact, one of mine that comes to mind is one nature. Nature
Mhm.
is art all in
Oh,
its
yeah.
own, and you can be. When we talk about being inspired by the art around us, it doesn't have to be somebody else's creation. It can also just be beautiful. And I
Mhm.
also think food, not just because baking is pretty, and I think sometimes we limit what we consider art to what is visually pleasing. When
Mhm.
you take a bite of something that is just the best thing you've ever tasted in that moment is so good, that's art. That is also art. So what about you guys? Where do you find art that is unexpected?
I was definitely going to say nature. Over the summer, I went on hikes a lot with my cousin, and something that we often would find was like man made art projects in nature, I guess. And we would find like pebble balancing rocks that were
Yes.
just around, and it was always really fun to find them. And we would add our own pebbles to the rocks, or stone made stair paths, and I always think that those are amazing to find. So that's definitely somewhere that I feel like you don't find it often, or when you do find it, it just feels like your own little magical piece of art in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
For
I would have
sure.
to agree. Nature for sure. Um, and I think nature in general is just a work of art. It just all depends on how one perceives it. Um,
Yeah.
you know, when I have visited Hawaii, and there's so many beautiful um, natural rocks, or the volcanoes made so many beautiful um, objects that you just stare and you question, how is this here? How
Yeah.
it's amazing. So definitely
Why
nature.
are any of us here? That's the true art. Those are great, great answers. Next question that I have does transition a little bit, but a little bit closer to home. How do you personally live with art? And by that I mean the decor, but not just how do you decorate your house, but what are the things that you surround yourself with? Because again, when we talk about inspiring your heart, the things we surround ourselves with are important.
Mhm. So something I found is I'm not a huge painting person. Like I don't like paintings or pictures on my walls because I change stuff out a lot. I frequently like to move stuff around in my room, and paintings aren't very great for that. So I found out I'm a big like vase person.
Ooh,
So I like different kinds of vases, and I really like picture frames. So I have like completely clear picture frames that are gold rimmed with pictures of my family in it.
ooh,
So that's really important to me. And then I have stacks of books like everywhere. So those are like the things that make me really happy that I like to incorporate in my everyday life. And then plants. Seeing plants makes me happy.
plants are great. Plants are
Mhm.
great forms of art.
Hmm.
What about you, Holly?
Mine is definitely music. I always have to have some type
Mm,
of music with me. It helps me focus um, on whatever task that I have on at hand, whether it's at home and I'm doing the dishes, or
yeah,
at home painting. I just need something in the background, and it calms me. Um, and it doesn't have to be a specific type of music. I will listen to absolutely anything. I just need that calming background noise, if you will. But definitely, music is an art form that I carry with me at home, on top of decor and items like that. But yeah.
I love that. I agree with actually both of you. I don't like silence, which may or may not be a good thing, but that's a conversation for another day. I love having music playing at all times. As much as another conversation to be had is Alexa devices in all of my rooms. But the nice thing
Hmm.
is I sync them up and I play jazz music throughout my apartment while I'm cooking, or I'm playing wake up music when I'm getting ready. Unfortunately, I live by myself, so I can play it as loud as I want. So there's that. But I also put a lot of energy into the things and colors specifically that I choose to live with. I think that there's a specific energy that comes out of my color palette in my apartment,
Hmm.
not much beyond just the keeping up appearances that it looks nice when I have guests over. I think it directly can affect your mood, energy, and inspiration, and even
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like warm tones specifically. I like have a lot of green. Green is my favorite color. So, final finishing question for you all. What's your favorite color?
So I have two. Um,
Okay.
this comes to no surprise to anyone in my office. My favorite color is like a
Pink.
super light baby pink. Um, Surprisingly though, I don't wear pink. I only wear neutral like black, white, gray colors. That's my clothes color palette. But my other favorite color is a really deep emerald green, like forest green almost color.
Ooh.
Those are like my two colors that are my pop of colors anywhere that I have. Those two colors make me very happy. I like the warmer tones that it brings out. I just feel like it's calming, and also just feels cozy.
It's a great color.
Yeah.
What about you, Holly?
I like a soft, subtle mustard yellow.
Oof. Kind of like our background right now. A little softer.
Little
Little
more
yellower.
yellow. Yeah, a little bit
Okay.
more yellow. So I actually have color accents of mustard yellow in my bedroom with like pillows and an accent chair and stuff like that. But my other color would be a navy blue, like a deep
Ooh,
blue. And
that
those
makes
two
sense.
colors together.
That's perfect.
And what about you,
Personally,
Emily?
thank you. Personally, forest green, like a rich forest green, is like the most comforting color to me in the entire world. I absolutely love it. I love all shades of green for the most part, but I'd say my top two, since we're doing basically like the what do you surround yourself with, and then what do you wear. I wear a lot of green, although I'm with you, Demi. I also wear a lot of just black and gray. But I decorate all of my house with like a burnt sienna. Like I love like a warm burnt orange. I won't wear it. It makes me look too orange. But I love my things to be that shade. It's so pretty. Well, thank you all so much for sharing all of this information with us. Any final things you want to talk about or touch on before we close up? Any things to pull back out from everything we've talked about today?
No,
No.
I think everyone just find art in your heart.
Yeah.
It's already there. It's already there. Just find it.
Just find it.
Well, thank you so much to my wonderful co-hosts, and a special thank you to all watching. We hope to see you again. We stream every Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can find us all the All About Presentation YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And if you can't make it, then no worries. We repost our episodes on our YouTube channel and on our Facebook page every week. Happy Friday, and have a fantastic weekend.